The rare earths era could not have appeared at a more opportune moment. With all the diplomatic bluster surrounding the recent blow-up in the United States, U.S. White House over the supposed signing of a minerals deal with, of all places, Ukraine, Associated Press, March 1, 2025, many must surely be wondering what the central issue is. Instructively, the minerals in question, titanium, zirconium, lithium, nickel, cobalt, copper, and what are obliquely referred to as rare earths, have high concentrations in areas of Ukraine currently under Russia's control. National Public Radio, February 26, 2025. Yet their existence across Ukraine makes it a prime candidate as a potential site for U.S. global endeavors of extractivism. Why the U.S. is so intent on wading further into the quagmire of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, proxy war with Russia in Ukraine to secure access to its mineral resources, and what the ultimate significance is for access and control of these minerals to big-picture global hegemony and technological competition between the U.S. and China, is treated by Chomon in the rare earths era. Indeed, Chomon's book provides a wake-up call with its analysis of questions surrounding strategic minerals and rare earths, given how these figure not only into global war machines, but provide the foundation for future environmentally sustainable societies, as touted in the variety of Green New Deals, GNDs, on offer, and so-called Sustainable Development Goals proffered by United Nations development agencies. As Chomon explains, the rare earths in the spotlight comprise 17 elements on the periodic table, including 15 elements of the lanthanide group plus scandium and yttrium-1. This ensemble is divided into light and heavy rare earths based on their atomic weights. The light rare earths are lanthanum, cerium, praseodymium, neodymium, promethium, and samarium. Heavy rare earths, which are the rarer, include europium, gadolinium, dysprosium, holmium, erbium, thulium, ytterbium, and lutetium. Their ubiquity in everyday life is illustrated by some telling exemplars. Europium is an anti-counterfeiting element in the banknotes many carry. Lanthanum, terbium, neodymium, praseodymium, europium, and dysprosium are essential to mobile phones, smart watches, and so on. The lightness of wireless headphones hinges upon miniaturized magnets fabricated with neodymium and praseodymium. Add to this the fact that televisions, refrigerators, vacuum cleaners, and light bulbs require rare earths to function. Even the internal combustion engine uses rare earths, and this is not even beginning to think about rare earth requisites for electric vehicles, EVs, of the supposed eco-sustainable future. Emergency telephone numbers and other computerized communications systems all depend upon rare earths. Modern lighter stones are composed of a mish metal containing cerium, lanthanum, neodymium, and praseodymium. Yet, the procuring of rare earths globally, explains Chomon 2-3, is concentrated in two countries, China and Australia. Though China controls 80% of the rare earths market and 100% if considering heavy rare earths. In this book, Chomon breaks down some of the mythology surrounding the green capitalist, futures held by GND proponents who wishfully think a transition to an eco-sustainable society is possible while maintaining the wealthy economy way of life. For example, neodymium iron-boron magnets that go into EVs or hybrid vehicles, which also contain praseodymium, dysprosium, ytterbium, require 2 to 6 kilograms of these rare earths for each magnet. Forecasts have it that meeting global demand will entail an 8.6% annual increase in supply. However, the latter is projected to grow at an annual rate of 5.6%. One of the main issues is that extraction of these metals commences in massive, often up to 50 square kilometer open-pit mines where drilling and rock blasting fragments the rocks into dimensions suitable for processing. Huge amounts of power are then required to crush the ores and tons of water to separate the oxides, accompanied by pouring acids and solvents over the ores. Approximately 1,000 tons of mined earth are necessary to supply sufficient material for one wind turbine magnet, for example. As well, while rare earth extraction in an already eco-sustainable society may potentially be undertaken in an environmentally sacrosanct fashion, in the hothouse of today's frenetic economic growth imperatives, the mining phase of extraction is often skipped. This leaves the leaching on site being set about by spraying large quantities of acids and solvents, along with copious amounts of water, directly onto rock formations, rendering local environments uninhabitable. Indeed, for every ton of rare earth materialized, it is estimated that 2,000 tons of toxic waste are produced by these methods, 7 to 8, 129 to 130. As Chomon 78 to 8090 quips, much of the GND and global sustainability discourse is akin to writing bad checks because the models are not underwritten by the necessary stock of green metals. The US, for example, set 2035 as the goal for achieving a carbon-free energy infrastructure. The European Union at an ambitious 2030. China, instructively, has its own program of 25% EVs by 2025 and 47% of its energy from renewables by 2060. Yet it is China which produces 85% of the magnets going into wind turbines and is home to 70% of global production of EVs. Chomon further notes how Silicon Valley is egregiously misnomered in that it has no domestic source of the very material of its namesake. For example, 70% of silicon metal is manufactured in China. China, thus, is home to a complete supply chain extracting rare earths from its Inner Mongolian region and feeding them to its coastal factories. Heavy rare earths erbium and ytterbium that enhance performance of solar cells also have their production largely monopolized by China, as is the case for gallium and tellurium factoring into solar panel fabrication. Thus, over 60% of solar panels globally are manufactured in China. Though the threat to the US and its close allies, purportedly posed by China in the areas of information technologies and intellectual property rights, is overblown, given how 96% of the 200 largest transnational corporations, including those responsible for fabricating the most advanced semiconductors using Internet protocols set by the US, are headquartered in the US and its vassal states. Westra citation 2024, 125. Yet China does have a card to play. This is potentially the mineral yuan as challenger to the petrodollar. In its exorbitant level of monopoly of the essential rare earths, declares Chomon 150, China leads an invisible OPEC, Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries of Green Metals. Chomon muses how a lithium OPEC might be forged by uniting China with Chile, Argentina, and Bolivia, excluding Australia given its current alignment with the US. Some of the writing is already on the wall. Chomon 154 to 157 suggests, following US efforts to freeze Russian dollar-denominated assets in the wake of its war with Ukraine. It is supported by the increasing rapprochement between China and Saudi Arabia, which has seen the latter accept the Chinese yuan in petroleum and other transactions. However, the mother of all rare earth-based problematics is militarization and war. The oxymoronically labeled intelligent military capability of current warfare is beholden to rare earths. Everything from night vision devices through stealth technology, drones, communication equipment to targeting lasers could not function without them. The war in Ukraine has highlighted their importance. Portable missiles have countered Russian air superiority by forcing jets to fly at altitudes above 10,000 feet. With no air superiority achievable, as had been a common determinant in previous conflicts, drones were brought into the picture. Yet these and missile systems, including the well-known US Patriot, along with the radar systems that guide them, are all dependent upon a rare earth accoutrement that is irreplaceable. 188. Chomon observes that while Western media speculate about Russia's potential exhaustion of its smart weapons and munitions arsenal, the fact is the US and other NATO countries are also rapidly depleting their weapons and munition stocks. More striking is the sheer level of dependence on China, with some critical heavy rare earths being only purchasable through China. Thus, if China were to turn off the tap of its precious metals abruptly and completely, it would take at least a year for the military industry in many Western countries to react. China has also parlayed its rare earth abundance into development of its own hypersonic missile, which can penetrate U.S. carrier group defenses and the storied Israeli Iron Dome. China's rare earths upper hand could also mean that a ban on rare earth exports will disable the Starlink satellite network, which has a history of military use, including as a means of military communication by the Ukrainian military. 198. All this only touches the edges of the abundant evidence Chomon's book provides about the global changes China's withholding of rare earths would elicit.